Stugotz here, guys. Mother's Day is coming up pretty quick. Whether it's your mom, your wife, or your sister, all moms need to hear they are appreciated and know that they are loved. So, show how much you care to the lady who taught you everything you know about caring with a Hallmark card. From sweet to sentimental to laugh out loud funny, Hallmark has a card that'll help you put your love for mom into words and let her know how much she matters. It's your way of saying thank you for all the sleepless nights and selfless acts of love. Go out and find the perfect Hallmark Mother's Day card today. You can find them wherever Hallmark cards are sold.
Great news. There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We have some basketball to discuss today, even though we took a season-long route to exactly the four teams we saw remaining at the beginning. I know a bunch of stuff happened and Kyrie Irving got hurt, but when it started, it was everybody saying Boston, Cleveland in the Eastern Finals and Warriors and Houston in the Western Finals.
Here we are.
And last night was interesting. If you could find the game logs, Stugotz, I just want to go over like the last 4 minutes of Philadelphia's season and where Boston was getting the shots, the last 4 minutes that ended Philadelphia. After the game, Ben Simmons, went up to Joel Embiid and showed him his fingers and said there are going to be a lot of rings on these fingers. And perhaps there will be, but not before a jump shot emerges from those fingers as well.
Right.
Because what happened in that series is Boston was better only when Ben Simmons was on the court, which is crazy. The plus-minus numbers are insane. When Ben Simmons was on the court, Boston kicked Philadelphia's butt. When he wasn't on the court, Philadelphia kicked Boston's butt.
Right.
And then last night in that game, what happened at the end, what happened throughout really, is Philadelphia's three-point shooters were eliminated because Brad Stevens said, okay, Simmons, get your dunks, get your little two-pointers, get your hooks, get your stuff in the paint, but your three-point shooters aren't going to get off. Bellinelli's going to play 3 minutes. Ilyasova's not going to have any impact. JJ Redick is going to be useless most of the game, even though he's your veteran presence.
I'm going back here, fourth quarter, like final 5 minutes, because it started at, with 4:57 to go. Jason Tatum made a dunk.
Let's do this. Let's go from right there. This is the last 5 minutes of Philadelphia season. Let's go through this as I explained to you that in playoff basketball throughout history, three-point shot has changed some of this, but throughout history, the reason that even LeBron and Kobe and Michael miss the game winners is because toward the ends of games, everything gets tightened up, and at the very end of games when you're playing for a game winner, those shots are often missed because of how hard playoff basketball makes it to get to the rim,
right,
to get open shots. Now, listen to the end of Philadelphia season. I haven't looked at it. I'm just remembering what I saw in the game where I see dunks and layups and putbacks, and you've got 7'2" Joel Embiid, and he's the future, and all Boston is doing is getting everything it wants an inch from the basket.
So it starts with that Tatum dunk, 4:57 to go in the game. Okay, so Tatum gets a dunk, and then just scrolling down here, then you have the Marcus Smart. You have some free throws from Tatum and Smart. Tatum got those free throws because he got to the rim, he got fouled, he got 2 free throws, he made them. Then you have the Marcus Smart putback as well, which was right at the rim, obviously, followed up by Al Horford and an alley-oop dunk assisted by Jason Tatum. And if Horford didn't dunk it home, Tatum was just going to lay it right in because he had the whole lane, essentially. You scroll down a little bit more. Tatum makes another layup with 22 and a half seconds to go. So all their shots in the final 5 minutes were them getting fouled, going to the rim, or them converting shots that were right at the rim with Joel Embiid in the game.
You can go back even more. Horford had a bunch of layups right before that. Steals. Horford controlled the game. Philadelphia gets the lead back, and it is simply a stinging indictment of the young Sixers who will grow and be better. The way Joel Embiid ended that season after all of his yapping, and I know that stat box looks good because he played hard and offensively he's a menace because he's bigger than everyone else. But the way that season ended with Embiid flopping on the ground a foot away because he couldn't get over that barbarian Viking that plays for the Celtics. What did we agree with that Aaron Baines was? Was he barbarian? Viking. Was there another option?
I think we settled on hipster barbarian meets Tyler Durden.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works too.
Mm-hmm.
So Embiid can't get his shot off very close to the basket.
Well, he got it off. He just didn't get it in.
Can't make it. Is flopping around on the floor like a fish on the deck of a boat. But what I'm telling you is the last 5 minutes of that season, such an embarrassing indictment for both Simmons and Embiid, because Simmons is your obvious future. He's LeBron of the future. He has no jump shot. He short-circuited in the series. He had 1 point in one of the games, and his plus-minus was awful. Boston took advantage every time Simmons was on the floor because Philadelphia couldn't get its three-point shooters going at any point in the series.
And the game certainly wasn't decided on that one Embiid play, but when a big man, especially one the caliber of Joel Embiid, gets that sort of positioning, it is shocking when that doesn't result in a make or at least free throws.
Mike, but hold on a second. I know a lot of people will concentrate there. What I'm telling you is the way that Philadelphia's season ended, there is nothing more embarrassing than 7'2" Joel Embiid being no kind of detriment to a starless Boston team without Hayward or Kyrie Irving, the guys who can actually get to the rim, a Boston team that should have problem with shot creation late in the game, no matter how good Tatum is, because they're young. Brown and Tatum are young, and that the idea that Boston fed at Joel Embiid's rim for the last 6 minutes of that season, man, take that into the offseason with you, and if that doesn't quiet you, if the shame of that doesn't quiet you, and it won't, it ought to make you better.
Some crazy stats here from ESPN on Ben Simmons in this series. Minus 63 for the series. Ben Simmons. Worst of any player. Philly plus 48 with him on the bench this series. Ben Simmons, this is incredible, made 0 field goals outside of the paint against the Celtics in the East semifinals and was 5 of 24 out of the restricted area. That is nuts,
But
man.
But the thing is, to me, because he's tall Rondo, the fact that at this youth without a jump shot, he can cave in your defense has been a marvel to see. But Brad Stevens said not anymore. He just said, go ahead, cave it in, go to the paint, see what you got. Well, you'll make some of your twos, you'll make some of your floaters. We are not going to allow Bellinelli and Ilyasova and Redick to beat us from out there. But what I will say, though, because this is predictable, basketball has been too predictable, we have to create our storyline somehow. And I feel a little pathetic that the way we're doing it this time is with Drew Bledsoe. This is a concocted storyline. Let me take you through it if you're not aware. Terry Rozier, who has been a career nobody, Scary Terry, has become Scary Terry over Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe, someone you also don't care about. Eric Bledsoe got scorched in the first round by Terry Rozier. Eric Bledsoe, during the first round, made the mistake of calling Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier made the mistake of, Eric Bledsoe, Drew Bledsoe,
right, Terry Rozier,
because Eric Bledsoe pretended he didn't know Terry Rozier's name.
So confused.
Okay, let me start again.
It was Terry Rozier and Eric Bledsoe, and Terry Rozier mistakenly called Eric Bledsoe Drew Bledsoe, and when they asked Terry about Eric Bledsoe, he followed up by saying, I don't even know who the bleep that is.
And so now Drew Bledsoe gets trotted out. Yes,
he's sitting courtside. I mean, they're making a wine together, and then after the game, after the series is over, I mean, I don't get this. Drew Bledsoe gets some podium time. He actually held a press conference. Like, we're coming dangerously close here to having a Mount Rushmore of people who have made themselves the stories where they have no business being the story. I've got 2. I need 2 more. I got Bledsoe and I got Sister Jean.
You need 2 more?
Of people who have nothing to do with the story, no effect on the story, yet somehow they became the story. Drew Bledsoe was the story after last night's game.
We are, as Boston is so starless in basketball that we've made Drew Bledsoe the star of playoff basketball yesterday. Former Patriots quarterback Drew Bledsoe, who made a Super Bowl appearance, but also became famous because Tom Brady took his job when his lungs filled with blood.
Hey, Rally Monkey, you're on there.
Don Le Batard.
There are some legitimately meaty race stories out there.
Stugotz.
Great.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Download the free Vivid Seats app today to get your tickets.
All right, our spelling bee is very popular. I don't mean to oversell it. It just is something that people enjoy. Our annual NBA playoff spelling bee. We will do it in a moment with Stugotz. Got a lot to get to. A lot of people are sending notes saying that Steph Curry's family have made themselves a part of the story when they're not part of the story. A lot of good nominees that we're getting for the Mount Rushmore. I think you were too quick to put the Rally Monkey and Sister Jean up there. We've got to wait this out for a second because Drew Bledsoe's not going to end up qualifying.
Ray Allen's mom.
There's a lot to get to. Also, somebody's written in very angrily about Aaron Baines. Vikings were on ships. That dude is a man of the land, not the sea. I don't agree totally. I do agree that Aaron Baines looks like he's like from the land, but if I put him on the sea, I feel like he's going to kick your butt there too. Another person writes in with a photo of Matt Patricia because he's in the news today. And he's like, but please don't talk about the story that he's in the news for today. Talk about the pencil behind his ear at his introductory news conference. I didn't know that was something that he did at the press conference.
Yeah.
We have revealed in our investigation that he is a pencil fraud with a laminated play sheet.
Correct.
And he does that on the sidelines. I didn't know that he broke out the prop. That old prop coach did it at his introductory press conference.
It's always there. It's not even a prop. It's just part of who he is.
No, he did the professional thing, and then he brought it out for a cheap pop at the end.
So let's go ahead and do this spelling bee. It's very exciting. This is the way that it works. It's 5 words. Mm-hmm. 5 words. It's me against Stugotz. I'm undefeated. Never lost.
You proud of that?
Yeah, these words are, as a reminder to the audience, as it is every year, these words are randomly drawn. We did a coin flip before the show and decided that Stugotz goes first this year.
Okay, so Stugotz goes first this year. All right. Let's see. The first word for Stugotz to spell is?
Luke Bahamute.
Really? Let me hear it in a sentence, please.
Luke Bahamute is the glue that holds the Houston Rockets together. If something were to happen to Luke Bahamute, Houston's season will be over. Basically, Luke Bahamute is more important to the team than James Harden.
All right, so Glueguy.
That's
good.
Bahamute. LucBahamute. Luke Bahamute.
That was so good it counts for 2. Stugotz gets 2 points
Whoa!
there. 2-point head start Stugotz gets right there. What is...
Cocky Dan. I mean, these are hard names.
No, it's not cocky. It's just he deserves that. For doing it that clever, he deserves 2 points. So he's up 2-0. What is my word?
James Harden.
Okay, come on.
That's hard. Put the hard in Harden.
Get out of here.
Can I hear it in a sentence, please?
James Harden cannot hold a candle to the eternal flame that shines brighter and more intensely than 10,000 suns that is Luke Bahamute.
Oh, wow. Okay, more praise for Luke Bahamute. For some reason, my father has developed something of an obsession with Luke Bahamute. Jamesharden.
James Harden. Jamesharden. James Harden.
Got still up 2-1. Still up 2-1.
Oh, man.
The second word in our spelling bee for the mighty Stugotz, who is, he's the Washington Generals. He has never won at this.
Esan Ilasova.
Oh, wow. Let me hear it.
I don't think my father pronounced that correctly.
Let me hear let me hear the name again. I'm sorry, I threw you off your game.
Esan Ilasova.
Close enough. All right, let me hear it in a sentence.
Esan Ilasova can apparently do whatever the hell he likes on the court with impunity, and the ref will just swallow their whistles because he's the second coming of Michael Jordan. Also, he's apparently an expert in fan attendance despite playing in such basketball hotbeds as Milwaukee, Orlando, and Atlanta.
Wow, seems
very wordy.
Very personal. My father sounds like he was mad about Ilyasova saying the Heat's arena was half empty.
I can't write anything down, right? I can't do that. I can't write okay. ERSAN ILLY E-R-S-A-S-O-V-A.
I mean, no. But
Esan y la soba. E-R-S-A-N-I-L-Y-A-S-O-V-A.
Oh, my God.
Esan y la soba.
that's too bad. You're still up 2-1, though.
All right. Okay. Very generous of you. Very
Let's
nice.
see. Well, but you deserve it.
Okay.
So what do we have here?
Paul George.
Oh,
Ooh,
get
a
out of
tough
here.
one.
You know what?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
You got the easy one, man.
Yeah.
Let me hear it in a sentence, please.
Paul George calls himself playoff P, despite never hitting a go-ahead shot in the final 25 seconds of a game in his career, and recently going 2 for 16 from the field in an elimination game. It would appear to be a stupid nickname.
These are
Very aggressive.
angry
Very aggressive.
sentences, yeah.
P-L-A-Y-O-F-F-P-E-E.
Paul George, P-A-U-L-G-E-O-R-G-E. Paul George.
He's just one P. I don't know.
All right.
But it was creative. It was clever.
No,
I will give you.
I don't get that. I don't get that. You're still up 2-1.
All right.
Go ahead.
I feel like I'm playing against my dad when I was a kid, 1-on-1 in the driveway, and my dad's just trying to keep it close.
You got to lead the nurse, man. Let's go. Let's get
go.
this.
All right, let's go. 2-1 me.
Timothy Luwawu Cabarro.
What?
Who does he play for?
What?
Who is that person?
What?
Timothy Luwawu Cabarro has not played a single minute for the 76ers during the 2018 NBA playoff.
Timothy.
Timothy Luwawu Cabarro. Timothy Timothy Luwawu Cabarro.
You know what? I believe Stugotz when he says he had the rest. That was a gimme. So go ahead and give it to him. 3-1, Stugotz.
Thanks, Dad.
3-1, Stugotz right now. What do I get?
Tristan Thompson.
I don't know. The Tristan might be tough. I might get this one wrong. Let's see. Let me hear it in a sentence.
Cleveland fans recently booed Tristan Thompson for allegedly cheating on his pregnant girlfriend, Khloe Kardashian, with multiple women. Then Tristan had a good game and they immediately accepted him again.
That's nice. That's a nice story. That was good of Cleveland to be so forgiving. You got a couple of offensive rebounds. We don't have any issue with your immorality. Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson.
Ooh, nice.
Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson.
So, all right, it's 3-2 to you. Yep. We're going to come back after the break. Do we have anything that we've got drama. We've got, we've got something that's climactic here. We come back with the final four words of the spelling bee next.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
You're still getting Chris Paul right after the break.
Maybe you'll get Chris Paul.
I'll never get Chris Paul.
That third one was a tough one.
I don't want Chris Paul, and I spell it CP3. I don't know what the three's for. I mean, took him 13 years to make it to the third round of the playoffs.
Dan Le Batard.
Is it fair to say that Stugotz isn't trying very hard?
Stugotz.
Duh.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The Detroit Lions have released a statement expressing support for head coach Matt Patricia after a report of a dismissed sexual assault charge from 22 years ago resurfaced yesterday. Dwayne Casey has been named the NBA's Coach of the Year. And finally, in an End Finally follow-up, Pasadena's infamous Dine and Dash dater has struck again. The serial dating handsome man that leaves his dates as the bill comes just added another victim. It all went down at Smitty's Bar and Grill, where his date Michelle said, quote, he ordered salad with shrimp and filet mignon. He went all out. After Triple D finished his meal, he washed everything down with 2 cups of coffee and started to get worried about an aunt that fell ill. Concerned his phone was dying, Triple D said he needed to go out to the car to give his phone a quick charge, and that was all she wrote.
Bam.
How'd he play? If your big Mother's Day surprise consists of one well-crafted text message, you need to step it up with 1-800-Flowers. Right now, you can get 24 multicolored roses plus a free vase starting at just $29.99. For details, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAM. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
I don't want that guy charged as a criminal. I want him promoted toward running a company. Because he has found a loophole that not many of us have considered, which is the idea of, and I understand it's both immoral and illegal, but the idea of disappearing before the check and having just leaving behind a wake of women wondering where you went and also getting stuck with a bill. Like, the ingenuity in that deserves something. Like, our American justice system should reward that person with something.
And to just stick to the Pasadena area. Bold move.
So this is the closest Stugotz has ever been to winning the spelling bee. Yep. He is up 3-2 with just 2 words left for each of us. So it's going to be hard for me to make a comeback here. Mm-hmm. Stugotz gets 1, and I can't win.
Well, is the last one, I forget, and I apologize, is the last one considered some sort of money ball? Did we do that? No? Okay.
No. So here is the 4th one. The 4th word.
I mean, Stugotz, you might be able to. You can ice this here.
I know what's coming
right here.
Way.
Right here. You can win right here with whatever's next. This is the spelling bee from NBA playoff basketball.
Gurshan Yabusele.
Mm-hmm.
Easy one for you. Stugotz.
Randomly drawn.
Can I hear, Mike, I'm sorry to do this. Can I hear the name again?
Gurshan Yabusele.
Okay, now let me hear it in a sentence, please.
You have no idea who Gurshan Yabusele is. He plays for the Celtics, and his nickname is Dancing Bear.
For the win.
All right. G-O-R.
Gurshan Yabusele. Gurshan-Yabusele. Gurshan Yabusele.
Amazing.
Was a choke job by you. I thought for sure you were just going to spell Dancing Bear and win.
I did choke because I'm telling you, I had the rest after those first 3 letters.
I thought you were going to spell Dancing Bear and that's it and put a victory on it and that was going to be it.
Yeah, but there's nothing clever there because the nickname was announced to me. I did glue guy on my own a little bit. I don't know. I didn't feel like you were going to give me anything for that, so I tried to
better chance of getting something there than spelling that name correct.
All these complaints about how you don't get any easy ones, and that one falls in your lap.
Yep, right. Unbelievable. Let's see if I get an easy one or a hard one here. 4th one for me. This one's big.
Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. Let me hear it in a sentence.
Carmelo Anthony, who loved money more than breathing, recently said that coming off the bench will be out of the question. Melo, there is no chance that any team is going to pay you $28 million. Do whatever the Thunder tell you to do, even if that includes being the actual bench for your teammates to sit on.
Carmeloanthony.
Carmelo Anthony. Carmeloanthony. Carmelo Anthony.
Texter writes in, it's pretty obvious Dan is getting easy names. This is dumb.
You don't get the show.
So the final one for Stugotz. 3-3 tiebreaker situation. It is 3-3. This is the last one. Stugotz has a chance here to possibly bury me. What do you have here for Stugotz?
George Niang.
What?
George Niang.
What?
George Niang?
Dan liked George Niang in college.
I did like him. Yeah, he played at Iowa State.
Well, how do you pronounce the name?
No, you got to do it the way my father's pronouncing it.
Okay.
George Niang.
Okay. George I got to hear the name one more time.
You know, you don't really get that opportunity in spelling bees, but okay.
I mean, I feel like I
George Nien.
N-I.
The things you're doing right now during the spelling bee, if you were to do them in Vegas, would get you buried in the desert.
Really?
Can you go ahead and finish?
N-I-A.
You're wrong.
George Nien. G-E-S-N-I-A-N-G. George Nien.
You forgot about the silent S.
There was a silent S in George Niang? Wait a minute, what?
At the end of George.
Yeah.
No, you got to be kidding me. You forgot
it. Georges?
How could you forget the silent S? You idiot.
All right, this one's for the win.
For the victory.
Go ahead, Chris Paul.
LeBron James.
No! That's a tough one. Let me hear it in a sentence.
LeBron James, the biggest crybaby in the NBA. You know, when he doesn't get his way, he complains to the referee. He complains to the referee, and he complains to the referee. After the game, if he doesn't win, he complains to the referee, and he goes, "Ah! Just because I'm big, I don't get the call." LeBron James, the most overrated player in the NBA, also the biggest snake.
Also the biggest snake. Wow. I'm pretty sure my father just said that. This is why this is going to be harder than you guys think. Let me just hear the way my father started that, because I'm pretty sure he ate an S there. I don't believe we got James there, did we?
LeBron James.
The next time. The time at the top of the sentence. The sentence.
LeBron James, the biggest crybaby in the NBA. You know, when he doesn't get his way, he complains to the referee. He complains to the referee, and he complains to the referee. After the game, if he doesn't win, he complains to the referee, and he goes, "Ah! Just because I'm big, I don't get the call." LeBron James, the most overrated player in the NBA, also the biggest snake.
The old George Niang situation you have found yourself in.
I know, and there might be a silent S here. Let me see. LeBronJame. That's my final answer.
LeBron James. LeBronJames.
I thought you had it.
No!
A super unsatisfying tie.
No! Oh, but the S is silent. What happened?
Good joke.
Guillermo, how much difficulty did you have with my father and some of these names? Because my father's become a giant diva. He's become yelling at producers and stuff. Did you guys have a bad experience with my father? My father's been complaining lately about how much he's paid.
He was surprisingly helpful this time, and all the names I just intentionally misspelled and made them phonetic for him, so he'd get it on like 1 or 2 tries.
Oh, so he was able to do it, though?
Yeah, because I just changed the spelling so it'd sound the way it's supposed to sound.
Underpaid, man.
It was a 2-day recording session, and he was not happy about day 2.
I know. What can you guys? We're going to come back next with stories of my father's divaness. We also have Ron McGill going to come through here with some mystery animal of death. Roy's got to stick his hand in a box, and he doesn't know the animal that's in there. We're going to do that at some point too.
Money, 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 money.
Tie's a win for me. I mean,
that's a big surprise.
Yeah.
And tie goes to the dumber.
Thank you.
Mike says it's anticlimactic. I think that's an amazing upset what just happened there. Unsatisfying.
It's the rare tie where you didn't spell any of the names right.
Blue guy.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing, keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years. And they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Dan Le Batard.
It's an opinion question. I gave you my answer.
Okay, but you're wrong.
Oh.
Stugotz.
I don't respect your opinion.
Okay.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We got the basketball playoffs to talk about, the Final Four. We've got the hockey playoffs to talk about. Plenty of sports going on, important sports with stakes. Amin El-Hassan is here. He's going to break down for us some basketball in a second. He's wandering around the studio. Ron McGill's going to be here shortly with an animal in a box, a mystery animal.
The Final Four, huh? May Madness.
But a texter is writing in first with a question that requires us all to stop and think for a moment, because I believe it's the important question of the day. And I know that Matt Patricia is involved in a situation that nobody wants to be involved in, and that there is serious social commentary happening around that, because I know all of you, when you think about American jurisprudence and the inability to handle domestic disputes, you want to go to your sports commentator so that Stephen A. Smith can tell you what he thinks about that. Because I think that instead of the American jurisprudence system, the ones that should be litigating this in public are indeed sports journalists. I believe it's the way to do this as we turn it into content. But this question right here supersedes all of that. This question, via texter, and put it on the poll as well, Guillermo, please. Has anyone ever said the word peppers better than Mel Kiper?
Peppers.
Has anyone in the history of the word peppers ever said it better than Mel Kiper Jr.?
Peppers.
And Mel Kiper Jr. doesn't say it as well as Mike's fake Mel Kiper Jr. says it.
Peppers.
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 You talk about a peppers.
Peppers.
I think people are right. Like, who would say it better? Who would you even nominate? Who would? Because he does. He goes from the first P, and then he just leapfrogs onto the second, the double Ps, and he really pounces on them, and then he springs to glory.
Peppers.
Almost a bit of a hiccup in the middle when you say peppers. You say peppers. Extra syllables. Peppers. Green peppers.
Stephen A. Smith. He'd probably say peppers pretty well.
I would love to have them have a battle. How do you imagine Stephen A. Smith? How much flourish can you put on peppers more than the flourish, the spice right now that Kiper puts on peppers?
Peppers.
The spice he puts on it can't be done better than that.
Peppers.
Peppers.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait a minute. Chris summoned some fake Stephen A. Smith, and he got it from his groin.
Peppers.
Wow.
Wow, it's pretty good. I'd like to see it. Can we have a battle? Can we have a battle between
peppers?
Peppers.
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 Oh, a Stephen A. change up.
Show some range.
Peppers.
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 That was very good. That was a good one.
Which was a good one, Roy? Which was a good one?
The peppers.
Who's winning right now? Hold on. Everyone back off. Hold on. World Star. I don't want a brawl to break out. I want everyone to remain calm as we run toward the video cameras taping the battle between Stephen A. Smith, the fake Stephen A. Smith, the real Mel Kiper Jr., the fake Mel Kiper Jr. I just want a rap battle between the two. Gather around, all of you with your cameras and stuff. Let's videotape this for eternity and for the internet.
Peppers.
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 Jabril Peppers, linebacker out of Michigan. I see him more as a safety. Bit of a tweener, great feet, ball skills, a bit of a question. I am high, though, on Jabril Peppers.
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 I think Stephen A's winning, man.
Yeah.
You better pull
Peppers.
some Julius Peppers out of your... You better pull some Julius...
Don't ruin the joke.
Peppers.
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 Julius Peppers, pass rusher out of North Carolina. Bit of a basketball player, great athlete. I envision this guy as one of the best premier pass rushers in the NFL. Could really be a boost to that D-line over there in Carolina.
Stuffed peppers.
Whoa.
Oh! It has escalated! What you got for the GOAT, fake Mel Kiper Jr.?
Pepper?
Oh, he shook.
Rattled
He
pepper.
shook. Victories.
Habanero pepper.
Don Le Batard.
I don't like when, like, big-time celebrities, they get so big and then they're going to write a children's book. It's an easy cash grab. And quite frankly, I don't need Jack White's advice on how to raise my children. It's annoying. Sorry. Hey, Jack White, please. Let me tell you, the last place I'm going for children advice, for child advice, for parenting advice is to Jack White and his stupid book. Jack White.
Stugotz.
And honestly, who is Jack White? Pretentious Jack White. Hey, I'm going to fire up a children's book. Tell you how to parent your kids. Leave me alone. Just write new songs. Stop writing books. Write new songs.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Ron McGill is here. He's going to spend the next couple of hours with us. He's got a box of some sort here that is filled with what is that, Ron? Is this what's going to crawl across Amin's face?
Yes,
attorneys not intervening.
I thought it'd be appropriate to bring the good, big, domestic, huge Miami palmetto roaches.
Okay, they
Nice.
are. Oh, so these are the ones that fly.
Yeah, well, they haven't developed their wings yet. They're just a fat nymph stage where they're really good to eat.
Okay, those are big, fat beetles, I guess they look like.
they're roaches.
No, but they look like, I'm just trying, okay, if they don't look like roaches
Yeah,
exactly,
why don't you let one go on top of this counter, see it run? It'll remind
they
you
look
very
like
much.
Let's not do that. Amin just gave us the Matumbo finger wag. It seems like I don't like how Amin's acting towards this. I mean, listen, you got to pay off the debt.
You got to pay off the bet before 1 o'clock. We brought Ron McGill, a zoo guy. He came in with a box full of animals. You got to pay this off. I mean,
That wasn't the debt. The debt was a hissing
all
cockroach.
right, we'll all hiss while the cockroach.
They'll hiss. These are the.
No,
these
they
are,
hiss.
They
Oh,
hiss.
they hiss.
They will
There you
hiss.
go.
Oh,
Hey,
he
hiss.
found hissing cockroaches.
What you got?
He found hissers.
What you got?
He found hissers.
They hiss.
You've got a
We're just
noon
going to take this
hisser on your
man's
face.
word for it. He just walked in here with a box.
Well, come on.
right.
What's in the box is a whole different thing. What's in here? This is your thing.
All right.
These are big.
This
Ron,
is
did you
very
say those are good
exciting.
enough to eat? Did you say that?
Highly nutritious.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, favorite food of the tokay gecko.
Yeah.
Today's going to end with Stugotz eating a cockroach.
No, today's not going to end with Stugotz eating any sort of cockroach.
Ron, you've eaten all sorts of exotic foods while being with.
The biggest source of protein. You know what people don't realize is you're eating bugs every day. Every time you have a box of cereal or something, there's a certain limit that the USDA actually allows in your food as far as insects are concerned. So you're eating insects every day, even though you don't know it.
Guillermo, put that on the poll. Did you know that the FDA allowed
USDA, not the FDA.
I'm
That's
sorry.
a fine.
The USDA allowed a certain amount of insects to be in your food. I was not aware that was something that the government had signed off on.
That is true.
So you're not going to tell us anything. At noon, are we doing the hissing cockroach with Amin?
We can do at noon. Amin, how much are you going to squirm? Because if you're not going to squirm that much, maybe we can do it next segment if you'd like.
Stugotz is very disturbed already. He wants
All right.
this box out of here.
Yeah,
because-
yeah. All right,
Incredible
so
video on the screen, man. This
I
is
mean,
like,
they're big, they're fat. It feels like they're grass fed.
I'd like, if we could pull this off, I'd like Amin to do his thing next segment so we can get this box out of here. And then Roy has something else to do later on in the show. So I think that's the order I'd
Roy
like
has
to,
to
do.
reach into a box with a mystery animal in it. What can you tell us
all I
about?
can tell you is that Roy needs to not sweat and not shake, okay? And that if that happens, he might get his hand in and out of the box without getting bitten.
But if he
is sweating or he shakes, there are many of these animals in this box, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, it is not pleasant.
Woo!
Wow. It's a puppy, huh?
Do not shake and do not sweat. Lucas, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Lucas.
Hi, you often hear that an athlete runs like a gazelle. Is that a compliment? Are gazelles graceful and fast?
Absolutely a compliment. The fastest land animal on earth are gazelles and pronghorn antelope, other than the cheetah. They will actually outrun a cheetah in the distance because they have greater endurance, but they can run very quickly, 40, 45 miles an hour, and their zigging and zagging is unmatched.
Jake, keep practicing a non-shaking hand, Roy. Jake, you're on with Ron McGill. Go ahead.
Hey, Ron. What is it about a cockroach that makes it indestructible to nuclear war? Thanks.
You know, it's hard to answer that question. We do know that they've been around for millions of years, and there's always that saying that even when everything else is dead, there'll still be a roach walking around on the earth. They're just an animal that has built up an incredible resistance to bacteria, different types of viruses, which is why they are found in dead and rotting things and why they can feed on those things without dying themselves.
Much like Rick Pitino.
Mitch, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Mitch.
Hey, Ron. I live next to the Shawnee National Forest, if you're familiar. I was driving through about a month ago, and owls swooped down and ran headfirst into my car. Why would it do that?
Because they're dumb.
Why do you say things? You have to stop using such harsh words when describing wildlife, Dan.
Why did it happen?
It happened because probably he saw a mouse running across the road at the same time and then got blinded by the headlights of the automobile and was disoriented and unfortunately had a collision.
Because they're dumb.
Dan.
Bird brain.
Eric, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Eric.
Hi, Ron. I wanted to ask if you saw the video of the lion attacking that sanctuary owner in South Africa. And second question, what age can a lion be for you to still get up close with it without it being dangerous?
It's not as much an age as it is a size, and by law in the United States, USDA does not allow contact with any lion over 25 pounds. So unless you're specifically permitted for that. Generally speaking, listen, I've said it many times, it's an old saying, you take an animal out of the wild, you can't take the wild out of the animal. These animals can turn in a heartbeat. A lion that's up to 50 pounds is probably not going to kill anybody, but it can do a lot of damage to you, and it can certainly kill a child. That's without saying. But having said that, I'd say 50 pounds is the limit before I would ever think of any lion that I would ever want to get in with.
Taylor, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead.
Hey, Ron, I was wondering if for some reason all the humans were wiped out, which current living animal would be the top predator in the animal kingdom?
Top predator other than humans, assuming that humans are wiped out and none of the other predators are? You'd have to go in the ocean, the great white shark or the killer whale. And on land, I would have to go with the tiger. Those are the two greatest predators that we have. Polar bear maybe in the Arctic.
Gene, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead, Gene.
Ron, hi. I want to know if you could pick one animal to fight for your life, what would it be?
Well, hold on a second. What are you asking? An animal that he'd like to fight for his life, or an animal?
No, an animal that would fight on Ron's behalf.
Okay, fighting to save your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Defending me. My mom.
That's pretty good throughout the animal kingdom, right? That's what every animal should want. Mom, that's right, because moms fight a lot harder.
They do.
And they have those chanclas.
That's right. The chanclas.
Chancletas.
Chancletas. We were just talking about Mike. That's a minor league team. He's got a flying chancleta on his hat celebrating what is child abuse that we all recognize as Hispanics from a flying chancleta from a displeased mother. Jeff, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, Ronnie. I'm here in Michigan, and I got pet dogs that get attacked by porcupines, and we got to take pliers to get the quills out. I was wondering how Mother Nature tends to that.
Well, a lot of times they can become so infected it actually can lead to the death of that animal, believe it or not. That's why porcupine quills are dangerous. But the bottom line is most of the time the skin just basically grows into them and they kind of fall out on their own. If the infection causes I don't want to sound gross, but it causes a pustule, a boil, and that loosens up the thing, and then eventually, hopefully, it heals. But there are occasions when these animals get such severe infections that they don't survive.
Ron McGill always makes us happy. We're happy to have him around for the next couple of hours. He's got critters. He's got an assortment. He's got a mystery animal, and we're going to get
box.
The death box is what he's calling it, Roy. No shaking of the hand.
No sweating.
No sweating. Hey, should we? And I don't know if this is going to involve a means attorney again. Should we get Roy running on a treadmill or doing jumping jacks? Should there be some sort of punishment that might have his hand sweating? Because I think we want to make it for optimal pain.
Don Batard.
I'd like to be a dog, man. It seems like such a great lifestyle. You sleep all day, you wait for everyone to come home, they rub your belly, they take you for a walk, and they just throw treats at you.
Stugotz.
I mean, I feel like you're kind of this show's pet, though. Aren't you kind of? I mean, look at you today.
Who's good?
I mean, who's good? We groomed Stugotz. Who's good? Who's good?
Who's good? This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
I mean, I'm sitting dangerously close to these roaches, man.
Stugotz is legitimately scared. Stugotz has been scared the entire break because he's right next to these roaches, and Ron McGill keeps fiddling with the top of the case, and these things fly, and they're fat. They've been fattened up on protein shakes.
Close the cage.
He keeps opening up the top of it. These things fly. They're about to crawl across the face of a meme.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. The Players' Championship is underway. Check out Bubba Watson, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, and Jordan Spieth on the course right now on ESPN+. Here's your SportsCenter update. David Price has a mild case of carpal tunnel syndrome. I mean, this is bad, man. Red Sox manager Alex Cora doesn't believe that playing the video game Fortnite with his teammates brought on the issue. It's funny. The Westgate Superbook has Golden State as the favorite against the Rockets. I have the Warriors in 4. And finally, Young Thug and Future have tattoos of each other's names. How about that? For you pros out there, next week is OSHA's Safety Stand Down, and we've teamed up with Warner to take a timeout to learn about ladder and fall protection safety. Remember, falls are preventable. Go to WarnerStandDown.com to learn more. That's WarnerStandDown.com for all the latest headlines and information. Tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
We are first and foremost.
Because I've been the joke on this show forever, and as long as I'm on the show, I will always be the joke. I feel like there's a joke about to be played on me. I feel like there's a cockroach on me right now.
No.
I'm standing somewhere.
All right, hold on a second. Slow down. Everybody calm down. This is the situation we have in front of us. It's treacherous. Stugotz is not feigning his fear. He is afraid of insects. He has once gone to the hospital trying to get a lizard off of a ladder. He fell down. He once called, I'm not making this up.
I called Ron about that.
He called 911 one time because a frog was in his house.
Yep.
There's a 911 call somewhere. We're not making that up.
It was a bullfrog. I mean, in my defense, it was.
Okay, we're not making that up. So, Stugotz, so now Ron McGill is here of Zoom Miami. We've got a very cramped quarters here, a small studio. On ESPN News, this is going to be visually funny. I need to keep the radio audience involved in this as well. So, this is the picture you need to paint. Stugotz is right next to Ron McGill, right next to him. Ron McGill is giant, Stugotz is not.
He's on a knee right now, and he's taller than I am.
That is true. Ron McGill is on his knees, and he is taller than Stugotz. He's got a cube filled with excessive roaches. How many are in there?
I don't know, about 20.
20. 20 roaches. I don't know why he brought 20. One would have sufficed.
I wanted to make sure I'm going to have one good one.
I want an exact amount. That's what I want because I'm keeping count here.
Oh, careful. They fly. Careful. They fly.
14. There's 14 in there.
There's 14 in there. Do palmetto bugs fly? Do they exist outside of South Florida in the United States?
They do. They do. But they get big and juicy here in South Florida.
All right, so are you going to get the biggest one? So Amin's going to put his face on this counter
yes,
right
he is.
now.
He's going to lay down on that counter.
This very unsanitary counter, by the way.
That's right, the Stugotz counter filled with
where he picks his nose and flicks boogers
crumbs
all over
and cocaine. That's
I gotta
right.
put my face on
That's
that.
right.
There's one right underneath the table
Careful.
if you need one, by the way.
So here we go. So Amin, hold on a second. You're just going to grab a fat one? You're going to leave the whole thing open?
Oh, yeah. They can't. These are in nymph stages, so they're just really fat and plump. Oh, they're jumpy, a little jumpy. Hold on a second.
They're a little jumpy. All right, now hold on a second. Hold on to it for a second, Ron, if you don't mind. Amin, put your face here on the counter. What are the rules here, Mike? He is lost at the grid of death. This is just going to crawl from the top of his head to wherever it crawls for how long?
It just needs to crawl on his face. It just needs to crawl on his face.
Crawl on his face. We are getting there. Hold on. Hold on. All right. That's his ear. That is his ear. There's a roach on his ear. All right. Let the roach walk around. Let it walk around. It's going to slime around.
It's still in my ear.
Oh, there are 3 of them. Oh, my God. There's more than one. And Ron is a cheater. Run! There are 3 roaches on his face.
Oh my God!
There we go.
Oh, there's a frog on the top of his head.
And one of them is a speedster. One of the roaches. The 4th one. There's so many roaches on his face. All right, enough. Now one of them is on his back.
Oh my God! Oh my! Count the roaches! Count the roaches!
Get out of here!
Ron, do not do that to me.
Stugotz
Ron, do not do this to me. Ron, I've never made fun of you with him. Ron, don't do it.
You never listen to me on anything.
Ron, don't do it. Ron,
throw a palmetto bug at him.
Throw
it at him. Throw it at him. Don't spill my coffee. You coward. You coward. Go to commercial. It's not the roach, it's my coffee, Stugotz. It's my coffee. Don't curse, please, Stugotz.
Sorry.
No matter how afraid you are.
I thought we were off there.
I mean, excellent work by you.
No, I apologize.
I hope there was a camera on him in the corner.
I mean, you're a trooper. You're a trooper. I mean, describe this.
That thing went into his ear.
He mashed it into my ear. It did not go into my ear. You mashed it into my ear.
Ron was very aggressive with those roaches. It was all very surprising.
I thought you were supposed to be kind to animals, and that didn't.
That didn't seem kind. I believe he hurled a palmetto bug at Stugotz. All right, we got to regroup here. Stugotz, you are an uncommon kind of coward. The terror that just spread across you is.
I gotta get video of that.
Is there one on his shoulder? Is there one on his shoulder? Is there one on his shoulder? Oh my God! Is it on his shoulder?
I do not care. Where's my? I need my
All
copy.
right, here you go. 1-800-Flowers. 1-800-Flowers is where it's at.
I need my copy.
If you want to please your mother on Mother's Day, 1-800-Flowers is where you go. Oh, look, his copy. He threw it. He threw his copy at Ron. He threw his copy at Ron.
I don't know where it is.
Okay, you don't know where it is. You're shirtless. You are hanging out of.
Sure we recovered all of them.
Talking to the microphone, that's helpful.
I'm asking Ron if we recovered all of them.
We're not sure we recovered all of them. There are cockroaches all over the studio. I feel one on my leg, and I think one might be on Stugotz's back.
You have a huge roach right behind you.
Look out! 1-800-Flowers, people, is where it's at.
There it is.
Okay, I got it now.
Stugotz, go ahead and tell the people about Mother's Day and 1-800-Flowers. I'm sure this is the commercial spokesman that 1-800-Flowers is thrilled to have.
Who wouldn't want this? I mean, let's be honest. Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch developed a close bond to his mother, Delisa, early on. An athlete herself, Delisa
This
once
studio looks like a pack of Wolverines has run through it.
Man, I'm sorry. My heart is racing, man. You okay?
I'm good. You good?
I'm good, I think. I don't know. I don't know if I'm good.
Mike, are you good?
Stugotz is shirtless.
Your clothes, man.
Yeah.
Where are your clothes?
Oh, my God. My kids are going to be so embarrassed by all of this.
I'm embarrassed.
It's dawned on me.
The terror that was in your face.
Pretty good six-pack, though, huh? Been working out. There you go. I've been working out hard, man. I have.
Don't forget, you can hear more of my sons Dan and Stu weekdays starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Dan Le Batard.
Game day bucket, go boom!
Stugotz.
I do like that idea, Goldie. Greedy. I like the idea. I have a friend named Goldie. I called you Goldie.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We've got Ron McGill here. He will take your animal calls. He will do some videos. Amin is wandering around the premises. If you have calls for him, basketball, 786-456-4837. But first, we have a dueling Stugotzes of the day. We've got two good ones here. Guillermo, get ready to put this on the poll. Which of these two is better? We've got dueling Stugotzes of the day.
It is time to find out who in sports has no redeeming qualities and is generally unlikable.
What?
Let's see who acted most like a Stugotz.
A little harsh.
All right, so Mike, are you nominating? How do you feel about your nominee for Stugotz of the day?
I'm feeling pretty good. I have Mark Ingram, who is hell-bent on getting an extension and will sit out in voluntary off-season workouts to get this new deal, despite being suspended for 4 games for the league's performance-enhancing drug
so while suspended
violation.
for cheating, he wants a raise. That sounds very Stugotzian.
I am proud of you, Mark
Yes,
Ingram.
way to go, Mark Ingram. You are a worthy nominee to this particular bejeweled throne of feces. What is your choice, your nominee, Stugotz?
I have Sixers coach Brett Bram, who said he would have voted for Brad Stevens as Coach of the Year after not voting for Brad Stevens for Coach of the Year.
Nobody voted for Brad Stevens for Coach of the Year.
Brad Stevens did not get a single vote from any of his peers.
All right, very good. And Brett Brown, that's a tough one.
Yes.
At Le Batard Show is where it's at. If you want to vote, let's take your calls for Amin and Ron McGill. Cole, you're on with Ron McGill of Zoo Miami. Go ahead.
Hey, Ron, I'm wondering, out of all the eagles in the world, where the bald eagle fares in a fight compared to other eagles. And before you answer that, remember that the bald eagle represents America, and we undefeated, never lost. Thank you.
Well, that's a tough one, but I got to tell you, the bald eagle is probably not the most powerful. The harpy eagle is definitely the most powerful. Central South American rainforest eagle. Then you've got the golden eagle, which is bigger and more powerful than the bald eagle. You've got the Philippine monkey-eating eagle. That's more powerful. You got there's the eagles from Africa. You know, as I said on other shows, and I know that The bald eagle's a beautiful, majestic bird, but it really is a vulture with a good PR agent.
Jim, you're on with Ron McGill. Hot take. Jim, you're on with Ron McGill. Go ahead.
Yeah, Ron, generally I know you're opposed to humans interacting with wild animals in their habitat, but I've always wanted to swim with the manatees. How do you feel about that if I go through a reputable company?
Well, there's going to be no company that allows you to swim with the manatees if it's going to do anything to disturb them. There's no law against being in the water where manatees are. The law is to do anything that's going to alter their natural behavior. So, and there's no company that can circumvent that law. You cannot touch manatees. You cannot do anything that's going to, quote unquote, disturb them. And I guess that's part of the interpretation. Kevin, you're on with Amin on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, what's more important for the Sixers? Markelle Fultz relearning how to shoot, or them getting a big free agent?
Ooh, good question. The best part of that question is both. Both are pretty important for them to be able to do. But as far as making a huge leap, big-time free agent obviously is going to be able to impact this team a lot quicker, a lot sooner than Markelle Fultz waiting for him to come into his own.
Ron McGill, let's do a video here, play-by-play of a video here. If you're watching on ESPN News, it's better, but if you're listening on the radio, it's usually pretty good because Ron McGill brings passion, energy, and...
Oh, God, it's an alligator in front of a truck, and the alligator's saying, no, you're not passing this way. The truck is going, I'm a truck. Oh, they took the bumper right off. Ooh. Holy James, look at that. Look at that. Wow. Don't ever screw with alligators. Look at that. Wow. Everybody thought, he's going to run over the alligator, right? Oh, watch it. Slow motion
look
again.
At that.
Ready.
Just took the bumper right off a Jeep.
Now, grab it. Look how fast.
Oh, man.
Gone, baby.
Wow.
Gone. I would send that claim into the insurance company.
They're dumb, those animals, huh? Dumb. No?
What is it with you and the word dumb and
They're not
stupid?
dumb?
No, they're not dumb. They're not very intelligent, but they're not dumb, Dan.
Okay, my bad.
Wait a second. What's the difference?
The difference?
Between being not intelligent and being dumb.
I think being dumb is not being able to tell anything apart, not being able to function within life. That's being dumb. Existing is being dumb. That animal can obviously exist. That animal obviously showed the truck. It's not so dumb.
I'm that animal.
Dan, you're on with... Oh, you don't want to do that. Seth, you're on ESPN Radio with Ron McGill. Go ahead, Seth.
Hello, I am Ron. I am the president of everybody. Voila! I like to know why after a rainstorm I many times have worms in my driveway.
Because worms need to breathe. And after a rainstorm, what happens is they go down into the water and the water drowns the worms. And the worms, in an attempt to survive, come to the top so you see them so they do not drown in the water or below the soil.
Brian, you're on with Ron McGill from Transylvania. Go ahead, Brian.
McGill, I got a question. My cat he's been neutered since he was a kitten. But yet, when the windows are open in our home, there seems to be 5 or 6 stray cats that I think are in heat by the noises they make, and they congregate outside my window. What would cause that? Is he just the Le Batard of cats?
If he was the Le Batard of cats, your windowsill would be empty. This is a cat that is obviously neutered, but it doesn't make a difference because they still can sense other cats. They're looking around. It's something you don't have to have the testicles to be attractive.
If it was a Le Batard of cats, it wouldn't fit through the window.
Oh, my.
What happened? Are we on the air?
Good stuff.
I feel bad about that one, man. I thought it was just me, you, and Ron, 3 old friends, just shooting the breeze, just kicking it around, man. I'm sorry, Dan.
So in the next segment, Roy will reach into a box that has mystery animals in it, or animals. What information can you give us?
It's definitely plural.
All right, plural. Animals in a box. Roy has been told that if he is sweating or if his hand shakes, it's going to be very painful. He is steady right now. We are going to have him do some jumping jacks during the break.
He'd be in good shape if he didn't have to smile.
Right, evidently this is sweat and a shaking hand will attract this animal. We're going to open up this box in a little bit. Dollar Shave Club, if you've got that end of the week meeting tomorrow, do not go into that meeting looking scruffy. You can clean a broiler pan with Stugotz's face right now. Stugotz, tell him how to fix your face.
Roy, I thought it was just a couple of friends just shooting the breeze. We're kicking it around, man. We're on air. Anyway, Dollar Shave Club.
Twice you're going to make that bad joke?
Yeah, it was terrible. Cat one, though, man. Hysterical. He's gone now, right? Ron, you were laughing, right? Fat cat.
Don Le Batard.
Carlos Boozer went on highly questionable. If you're not familiar with this, it's basically shoe polish on the head. If you're balding or you got spots there, I used to use on television a can of hair.
Stugotz.
You just, you just sprinkle like a can of hair in a spot, and it would just cover up. It just like it's like it is. It's like gray spackle.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We are going to build up to Ron McGill and Roy Bellamy. We have a box of death in the middle of the studio, ESPN News. It's got skulls on it, got bones. It's a box of death, and there is a mystery animal in it. But before we do that, I mean, you're friends with Shaq. I'm friends with Barkley. Mm-hmm. Barkley is amused by how sensitive Shaq is. You saw them get angry at each other the other day on television. It was a dumb argument. Yeah. It was a funny argument. To see them both get that agitated and just scream at each other. What did you make of the back and forth? They felt like last night they almost had to address it at the beginning of the show. It almost felt like an apology, like they were reprimanding Shaq for getting in his feelings.
It reminds me a lot of when things happen here on this show, and then I walk away on Twitter and people think that I'm actually angry at Mike, or I'm actually, getting a lawyer to sue you guys, which I actually am, by the way. But to me, it's just, what I see there is that's locker room conjecture, right? Like that's how guys talk in a no TV camera setting. And that's the beauty of that show, is that they're able to replicate what a conversation in a locker room is really like. It's not a whole lot of your turn, my turn. Well, I will thoughtfully disagree with what you said. No, it's a lot of yelling and making fun of each other.
I didn't see them last night. They actually did that to start the show. It seemed like.
I don't know whether. Yeah, it was the start of the show. When I was watching, when they came into the pregame show, they addressed it right off the top, and it felt like they were browbeating Shaq a little bit. Like they weren't coming after Charles on it.
I thought Shaq, like for me, I've been very critical of Shaq since he took up. Dan thought he was going to be a great television personality. I think we all did, and I've been critical of him. I thought that was one of his best moments. Like that was a good back and forth with Barkley, and Shaq happened to be right.
And I mean, but like the whole thing is, the point of the story, the point of the conversation wasn't what people are talking about. They're talking about Shaq saying, you didn't win a championship, so you don't get to talk. And Charles saying, well, I didn't get to tag along with Kobe and Dwayne Wade. Obviously, both of those statements are incorrect. That's locker room guys making fun of each other. We're just going to point out, what your nose looks like or whatever. That's what they do.
So Ron McGill and Roy Bellamy are in the back of the room here. And Ron, what can you tell us? Roy lost, one of his teams lost, and he now has to reach his hand into this box. Ron, what details can you give us before Roy does this about how dangerous this is and what might happen here?
Okay, it's not going to kill him. Whoa. That I would never do that, okay? Having said that, if he's perspiring, if he's shaking, it could cause an antagonistic reaction from the animals that are in this box.
Okay, but if he's not, will we just have a guy sticking his hand into what could be an empty box?
It's not empty, I promise you that. He could just might feel things crawling on his hand.
All right, Mike, give me the ruling here. How long does Roy's hand have to be in there?
10 minutes.
What?
Shut up, Chris.
I think 5 to 10 seconds is a lifetime.
Ron, what is the right amount?
Hold on. I was down there for an eternity. That was not no 5 seconds.
Amin had 4 cockroaches on his face for longer than that.
20 seconds was about the amount of time.
Ron, what is the right amount to put pressure on Roy to see if there will be?
I can tell you, in a similar ritual that's done in the Amazon, they have to keep their hand in there for a good 5 minutes.
Yes. Oh no!
And if and when the stings occur, you cannot flinch, or you add on another 5 minutes.
1 minute then.
Okay. Well, Roy, how do you feel about this? This is what we're going to do here. Because is there the possibility that this, a largely visual gag that is on a radio show, that it will just become Roy sticking his hand on in a box and having no reaction because he is neither sweating nor shaking?
I'm going to have to lawyer up. I'm going to have to go with you. I mean,
my guy.
For those watching at home on ESPN News, Roy's generally stoic. I have never seen Roy shook.
Roy, well, don't be shaking now if you're shook. Roy, what is your situation?
I am not shaking, Dan.
Okay, are you okay?
I am perfectly all right. I'm ready to do this. Let's go.
All right, so how long are we going to do it for? Are we going to do it for an entire minute, and we're just going to stare at Stugotz? And I don't think there should be rules about if he reacts to a sting, a bite, or what?
It would be a sting.
Okay.
It would be a bite. Actually, it's a bite. It's a bite.
Wait a second.
Man, what if it's a sting and a bite?
No, it's actual bite. It's a bite.
All right,
God.
Okay.
I still think it's a lion.
All right.
Okay.
Where's the lawyer?
All right.
So
Are we
it is
ready to do
time
this?
now. Yes, we are going to
Well,
do it.
First, let me piss him off a little bit.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Wait, hold on.
Hey, Roy.
Thanks.
Stick your hand.
Ron.
Stick your hand right through there. Stick it in. Stick it in, Roy. Come on, all the way. Put it down. And put it down on the bottom.
Roy, what do you feel? Give us some play-by-play, Roy. What do you feel?
It feels like feels like insects crawling around inside it. Oh, it's on my hand now.
What? How many?
I feel one, two. There might be two. No, that's three.
What do they feel like?
It feels like. Is it spiders?
What do they feel like? Roy, give us a description on the radio,
it's tickling. Please. It feels like
I'm being tickled. How big are they? How big?
How big are they? They're probably a good half an inch, probably.
Roy, remarkably calm during this.
Okay, Ron, how would you? What would be your assessment right now of Roy's status?
He's doing the right thing to avoid having negative consequences.
Okay,
he's being very calm.
What can we do to produce a negative consequence?
Stick Stugotz in there.
The box is being shaken.
Well, now you just knocked every one of them off my hand.
Wait a minute. Roy is a hero. Roy is the most courageous man in
is a stud muffin.
in the history of mystery death animals.
All right, now there are about 5 on my hand now.
Okay, 5 things on your hand.
It might be. Oh, it's going up my sleeve now.
Texture.
It's in the studio.
All right.
It might be in the studio. Oh,
All right.
my God.
Ron, at what point would you be willing to tell people what that is? What is the payoff for this? Hopefully, it would be something biting or stinging Roy, but we have not gotten there yet. That's what we're rooting for.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
Can we put some perspiration in there?
Yes.
Is there anything that we can do?
I just want to make sure they don't get into the studio here.
All right.
They might once I take my hand out.
No, because then you're going to have a Stugotz issue.
Hold on a second. Ron, if he pulls his hand out, are we going to see animals all over it?
We may. No, because I built the thing so that it should wipe him off his hand when he comes in.
Should?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's historically how the mystery animal box of death works.
All right, Roy, take your hand out of the box. Let's see if there is anything remaining
Okay, here we go.
on your hand.
On your hand, is it a nub?
What happened, Chris?
It's out! Go to commercial! It's out!
Don Le Batard.
Did you know that Jose Canseco's finger fell off during a poker game?
We did a good show today, man.
68% of the audience said no. That's all we got today.
Is that all?
Our job is done.
Stugotz.
That's a quality program we put together.
Good job, everyone.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Ron McGill has been with us all show. We're grateful for his presence always. If you want to contribute to some of the things that he cares about at Zoo Miami, he does some very good work with the animals. The Ron McGill Conservation Endowment Fund is something that you could support. You can look it up on the internet. Ron, what's the easy way for people to find and help the animals through you?
I appreciate it. ZooMiami.org. It's an endowment. Your money that goes there never gets spent. It just produces money to help animals outside of the zoo in the wild areas where they occur.
So what is in the box there? I heard that some of them escaped in the studio. People were running around in there. Stugotz looked legitimately scared again for the second time today.
Ron, do not throw those at me, please.
Camera on my hand?
The camera.
Ron,
let's see if the camera's on your hand. We will see when the camera's on your hand. So, all right, it is on your hand. Oh, what are those? What are those?
Those are crickets.
Crickets! Stugotz just hit the floor. I don't know why Ron feels so comfortable throwing animals at people. I just got done telling you Ron cares about the animals. He continues to throw crickets at Stugotz. Given their size and weight, I would think that those would be harmful falls for the crickets.
He is pathetic.
He is pathetic. He just left the studio. Now we can't do the polls with him. He's in the other studio. There are crickets all over the floor here because Ron keeps throwing crickets. His microphone's not on.
There's crickets all over my back. That's where there are crickets.
Yes,
There's one in your hair.
No.
Okay, there he is. All right, hold on. Be careful, Billy. Don't step on any of the crickets that are in here. We got to update the polls. We got sponsors as well, but thanks, Ron, for coming through. It's just crickets. It's just crickets.
It's just crickets.
I thought it was going to be bullet ants. What do crickets do if they
don't do anything? Bullet ants could kill you. What do you think? I'm crazy?
I just thought that if he shook or if he sweat, those were all lies. Those were all lies. It's just crickets.
Dan, I'm going to bring something in here that's going to really hurt somebody.
I mean,
Dan. We live in a very litigious society.
You
Dan.
just threw crickets across the room, and
those are insects that we use for bait to catch fish. We put hooks through them.
All right. Well, PETA is gonna. You'll hear from them. You'll hear from them for what you just did to the crickets.
The crickets are fine. They were walking all around. You're gonna have a nice soundtrack tonight.
Crickets are fine. There's one on Stugotz's shoulder right now.
Stop it, Michael.
All right, Mike. Go ahead and update the polls. Mike. Mike has in the history of humans, has there ever been a larger coward than Stugotz?
I am so disappointed in him because he is bounced off walls jumping away from Ron.
I mean, he got a cricket thrown at him, and I felt him lurch under my feet like a kid at Disney, scared of one of the animated characters.
Did you have any crickets thrown at you? Just out of curiosity?
I'm right next to you in here.
Oh, get out of here.
Stugotz has the lateral movement of a world-class soccer keeper.
Yes, I mean, it was amazing.
You saw that, right?
He did. He got out of the way so fast.
Yeah.
If we could harness the fuel of Stugotz's fear, Elon Musk could conquer Mars.
Nah, he's a fraud.
At Batard Show on Twitter, Stugotz, go ahead and update the polls.
He displays the behavior of a fraud. That's what he does,
Thank
Elon Musk. Aaron Baines, Viking or barbarian? 53% of the audience said Viking. By the way, the Twitter poll is brought to you by JCPenney. Shop gifts for all the moms in your life at JCPenney. Save up to 70% off fine jewelry after an extra 20% off with JCPenney credit card and coupon. Style and value for all. There's a cricket in here.
I mean, there's several in here. So it's a cricket.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay, anyway.
It's a cricket.
Which is the worst texture while feeling a mystery animal in a box? Scaly, leathery, slimy. 76% of the audience said slimy.
And insects or crickets are neither.
Whatever.
Okay?
Ron.
No, that's right. It was pretty weak. Crickets is nothing.
Would you be shocked if new Hornets coach James Borrego had fangs when he opened up his mouth? Bill, don't. Bill, do not do this, Bill.
Are you at the end? You're going to throw a cricket at Stugotz?
I'm going to go back
ahead.
in the other room and leave.
Update the polls.
89% of the audience. There's another one. 89% of the audience. I mean, seriously.
They're all over the place. Stugotz. Ron was throwing them.
Yo, guys, enough.
They're all over the place.
They're passing around.
Yes,
here.
they are.
Get out of here. I have nowhere to go.
So just update the polls from the center of your fear.
I'm not updating the polls.
All right, you're boycotting the polls. All right, I'll see if I can find the polls here on the internet. Let's see what
this thing go. All right, hold on. You. Has anyone ever said...
It was just confetti, Stugotz. It was just confetti. It was not a cricket.
There was a cricket in there. Has anyone ever said the word peppers better than Mel Kiper Jr.? 81% of the audience said no. Did you know that USDA allows a certain amount of insects in your food? Peppers. 61% of the audience said yes. Peppers. Who is the Stugotz of the day? Peppers. Mark Ingram? Peppers. Brett Brown? Peppers. 66% of the audience said it was Mark Ingram asking for a raise after testing positive for PEDs. Peppers.
Peppers.
That was a real one.
That was a real one. Guillermo did throw one at you there. That was a real one. Our thanks to Ron McGill for bringing animals here and killing several crickets. Stugotz just ran into the street. He just fled
on Ocean Drive.
He did. He just fled the entire studio. Again, if you want to help Ron McGill and you want to help Ron McGill help the animals, the Ron McGill Conservation Endowment Fund, you could check it out.
He farted on the way out.
Oh, no. You farted on the way out with your fear, Stugotz. You farted fear?
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPN News.